वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन को बीजेडी विधायक रणेंद्र प्रताप स्वाई विरोध यह विरोध करी दिनक तले विधानसभा एक संकल्प आनी राजा स्वाई गोटे देश गोटे निर्वाचन हेबा द्वारा गणतंत्र दुर्बल हेब और संघीय व्यवस्था विपर्यस्त हो पड़िबो बोली से कहछंती। गोटे देश गोटे निर्वाचन पई गठित होइतिबा उच्चस्तरीय कमिटी जो सुपारिश करिछि ताहा अगणतांत्रिक बोली से कहछंती। सारा देश में गोटे निर्वाचन नहीं वितर्क जारी रही एका संगरे विधानसभा और लोकसभा निर्वाचन करबा पई विचार विमर्श करा जाउछि। एभली स्थिति में गोटे देश गोटे निर्वाचन को विरोध करी बीजेडी विधायक रणेंद्र प्रताप स्वाई संकल्प आनिबा राज्य राजनीति रे नुआ चर्चा सृष्टि करिछि। किंतु एहा बीजेडी रो आभिमुख्य ना तांकर व्यक्तिगत मत ताहा अस्पष्ट रहिछि।
The reform process of one country, one election. And ahead of that, a high-level committee has been appointed to recommend constitutional and legal amendments, and the report prepared by that committee has now been published. After India's independence, a multi-party democratic system has been strengthened in the country, and as a result, various parties have come to power at the center and at the states. And at the same time, political parties with different positions have been in power at the center and at the states. Because it is a reflection of the socio-cultural and political diversity that exists in the country, and because the people of the world have seen it in the last 75 years of our independence. However, in order to make all these differences irrelevant, all assembly and local government elections are planned to coincide with the Lok Sabha elections, and as a part of this, in the first phase, when the next Lok Sabha elections are held, the high-level committee has put forward a proposal to cut down the term of the legislatures that have not completed 5 years. As the next step, the tenure of the local self-government bodies is also aligned with the tenure of the parliament and the parliamentary elections. Whereas this action is an affront to the people who have elected the state governments and local self-governments, a flagrant violation of the democratic rights of the people to elect their governments for a full term, a challenge to the sovereignty of the people in a democratic system, and an encroachment on the powers of the state governments, which are constitutionally responsible for conducting elections in local self-governments and thereby on the federal structure of India. Since the high-level committee's recommendation that if a government is dismissed by a no-confidence motion and any state assembly is dissolved, then the assembly formed through by-elections should serve only the remaining term of the previous government that was dismissed or dissolved, as it is completely contrary to the argument that the elections are held at the same time to cut costs. It is undemocratic to view parliamentary, assembly and local government elections as mere expenses. It is that anti-democratic mindset that underlies the idea of one country and one election. It is also seen as a deliberate move to eradicate India's socio-cultural and political diversity. While other simple measures can be taken to cut costs and streamline administration, the House is of the opinion that the implementation of the concept of one country, one election will weaken the power and the rights of the state legislatures of the country and make the local self-government bodies, which are supposed to stand with the local governments, irrelevant, thus eroding the people's participation in the democratic system to disintegrate the decentralization of power. Now, therefore, the Odisha Legislative Assembly has unanimously requested the central government to immediately withdraw from this fundamentally undemocratic move.